Catch this rhythm. You feel that? That's called playerism. I'm on the scene, a player clean, poker face, 4 queens. I got 4 of a kind on everything. Diggers living elite. I don't feel complete without kicking at my feet in a Rolls Royce every week. Maybe this is deep. Listen close when I speak. I need to at least, cause I'm too much. I'll be a fool if I love him. You'll be a fool if you trust him. Here with my niggas, we keeping it gangsta. Yeah, I'm a slayer, I'm just keeping it player. I'm fucking her now, we're man eating it later. That's maybe why he is a hater. I'm wearing all black like I'm being a raider. You talk to police, we call you a traitor. I'm running the city, they call me for favors. I'm running the city, they call me the mayor. Lyrical Whitney, my sweet presidential. She give me the canary diamonds as I'm flying. Canary Islands on a one-way. Fresh Easter Sunday. Yes, I touched the runway, I'm blessed. She looks like she just left the runway. She wanna stay with me in this Disney fantasy and never go home like a runaway.
I'll be up before the daylight, that's why I'm getting paid, right? I'll be all in. I work hard and play hard until I hit the graveyard. I'll be all in.
I am going to be who I truly am because I am remarkable. And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part of who I am. Peace to the saints. It's the one and only. It's the big homie. Your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. I think I might plug in my headphones. I think that makes the audio a little bit better. You guys do let me know. Today's lecture, we are talking about the difference between young women and older women with regards to approach, dating, and all the rest of it. There are a lot of lies that are going on in the society, and those lies are put together to hold up certain systems and backward cultures. I'm here to clarify and to help you all select for yourself a proper woman that can lead you to a life of happiness, productivity, and an honorable family and a respectable family name. As we go through, if you have any comments, questions, you'd like to support the work with tithes or tuition, you can use the information below. Let's go ahead and get to this work. If you would confirm that the audio is better than it was before, I'd appreciate that. The difference between young women and older women. Now, the first thing we must understand is that the female and the male don't age at the same rate. In fact, let me see if I can find this photograph, which I found to be really interesting. Give me 1 second. My host is calling. The timing of something is very curious. Sorry about that. I was calling back. Okay, give me a second. Hey there, Mike. How are you? No, I don't know who else would have sent that in. It was 2 days. You're the only person I talked to. And then when I went down to exchange my key card, they said that they gave me 2 nights. Yeah. Yeah. No idea. I appreciate that. Am I good to grab that cash downstairs? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you. Bye. Okay. Sorry about that. Would you guys confirm that you were not able to hear my personal call? You can just explain that in the video froze. Yeah, the video froze because I took a phone call through my
computer. That's why the video froze. And I would hope that the audio froze as well. Anyways, ladies and saints, let's go ahead and get to this work here. And per our tradition, show love to those who show love to you. Shout out to Brant, supporting from the UK, bruv. May I also acknowledge Ernest. And he writes, Champ, what 5 qualities should we look for in a wife? Mind you, we're going to go deep into this in the Big Game Conference. So the Big Game Conference, the link is in the description. Get your tickets before they're gone, and also get your tickets before we actually increase the price. So be aware of that. Once we increase the price, it won't come down. Once we sell out the tickets, there will be no more. I am hosting it at my plantation in southern Georgia. So we invite you all to come. It'll be a great time as usual. And as usual, even though the conference is about how to meet women, how to engage in, financially intelligent dating, how to build relationships, how to lead within the relationship, how to manage them, how to manage yourself, who's suitable for marriage and children, what should that process look like. All those things are going to be discussed during the Big Game Conference. It's going to be a huge well of knowledge and information. But know that once the tickets are sold out, I'm not selling anymore. I know it's it's no compliment to ask me to sell you one when they're sold out. So please don't ask. The prices will be increasing. Again, it's already increased 3 times and it will continue to increase. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to this work. So the gentleman asked, what are 5 things you should look for in a wife? So really, I think the more reasonable categorization is as a mother. You see, because a man doesn't really look for a wife in as much as if you're dealing with a woman at any level and she's your woman, whether it's dating exclusively, it's as a fiance, it's as a girlfriend or what have you. A man is not particularly looking for a wife. For that really just points to some kind of legal contract or obligation. However, what you actually are looking for are the qualities of a mother. And those qualities impact not only how she deals with you, but of course, how she deals with your children. And so when you're looking for the long term, that's what's most important. And as I've indicated before, something that my mentor taught me when I was a youngster, and I really do appreciate it, is he said, do not look for what you want in a woman. Create a list of the things that you absolutely cannot stand and avoid those things like the plague. I think there's a great, feel free. I think there's a great wisdom there, because the truth of the matter is that you're not going to get everything that you want. In fact, you might not get most of the things that you want. You're fortunate to be a man in as much as, we have more reasonable requirements and expectations, whereas women seem to want a whole host of things. And if the whole picture is not there, then they're not satisfied. And that's going to tie in directly to the greater topic that we have today. But number one, and we're going to talk about this during the Big Game Conference. We're really going to map it out. As you guys know, when I give education, I got infographics, I got documents, I got charts. I have things that you can reference so that you can make sure that you've soaked in the knowledge, you understand it, you can apply it, and you can even write it out. Because as I say, exercise is prayer. Reading and writing are very similar in how they make sure that the information stays in the mind. So be ready for that Big Game Conference. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be good bonding. Of course, we're going to have some exercise as well. So bring your running shoes because that's just our lifestyle. But anyways, so point one, identify the things that you can't stand and avoid those like the plague, and don't compromise, because often men, we compromise with women. And the most important thing you could be able to say to a woman is no, flat out, no. And the reason is because often they're over consumers. They'll break the bank and break your budget. I can't tell you how many women want to live a multimillionaire lifestyle, but they're not millionaires. And because of that, they look at things from the outside, not realizing what things cost, how expensive certain things may be. And so in endlessly wanting and digging their wants out of your pocket, you'll end up going broke. They don't know that, to buy them a Gucci purse or an Hermes bag and all of this stuff, plus go on the vacations and eat at the fine restaurants. They don't know how those bills stack up so very quickly. And as a result, you'll go broke. You hear people say things like, oh, I can't afford to have kids, or I can't afford this or that, which is actually you self-deluding, because people have kids all the time, poor people. But when you have a woman who is out of control, out of your influence, then you're going to have a problematic situation, because when she's asking for the unnecessary things. She wants to have a wedding, but she wants you to spend $80,000 on the wedding, even though traditionally in the West, the father of the wife is supposed to pay for the wedding. They always forget about that, but they want to spend huge bucks on the wedding. They want to have 2 rings. They want to have an engagement ring and a wedding ring. Why? It's not necessary. The West is backwards. You're a victim of consumerism, not capitalism, but consumerism. And you have all of these things that if you're not able to tell your lady no, you're going to suffer, because women are not good at telling themselves no. They're not good at telling children no, because no roots from discipline, and discipline is the unique characteristic of a real man, to be disciplined, to tell yourself no, to deprive yourself as appropriate. And so when you cannot do that, you'll suffer. You hear a lot of women talking about they want a provider. This is merely because A, they're broke, and B, because they don't know what it is to be a woman. They've confused being a woman with that which they can consume. So they have to pay money to make their hair look a certain way. They have to pay money to get dermaplaning to make their skin look a certain way. They have to pay money to get their eyebrows done. They have to pay money to get their upper lip waxed. They have to pay money to tan their skin. They have to pay money to enhance their chest. They have to pay money for all those things, because they've confused what it is to be a woman with what they can buy to feel more confident within the context of a sick society. So if you cannot tell her no, I don't want you wearing high heels. No, I don't want you spending money at the hair salon. Can your sister do your hair? Can your mother do your hair? Well, then have them do it. And when you guys allow a woman to manipulate you and call you insecure or call you broke, these are manipulation tactics that they'll use to get what they want out of you at any cost and any expense. And the more a woman refuses to accept the concept of no when you tell her, that is an indication that she doesn't have respect for you or respect for your leadership. And if you will allow her to continue to be unruly, then that lets you know that you are not developed as a man. During the Big Game Conference, I'm not going to talk about how to get a woman and all these things directly related to women straight away. Now, we're going to start with a foundation. That's what I do with all of my courses. I'm a very linear thinker and teacher. And so before, it's like boxing, right? I don't teach you how to box or how to fight. First, I prepare you. I teach you how to be prepared to fight, how to be prepared to box. There's a mindset you must have before you even start, before you lace up the gloves, before you throw a punch. Same thing with women. There's a mindset and there's a foundation you have to have. And it's not anything goofy about how many women you've had intercourse with, or how many, this or that, or how much money you should have in the bank account. It's none of that stuff. It's more so about your own self-development. It's not the things that are material. It's something deeper than that before you even start to engage. And that'll put you on the proper footing so that you're not suffering the things like rejection, like not being able to handle rejection or being scared of rejection and all these other things. So the Big Game Conference is going to tool you up to really get that done. And also, we're going to talk about other things that you might not be expecting in such a conference. Like, for example, we talk about defining your sources of happiness, right? Not only as an individual, but together with that woman. Because if you guys have radically different sources of happiness, then nothing is going to work out for you. This is what I mean. If a young lady is a thought and she enjoys going to the nightclub, drinking, and being in the VIP area, then that's what you're going to have to keep providing for her to feel happy and fulfilled. And when you're not enjoying those bigger sources of happiness in the in-between time, what is that called? That's called work and life, right? So if you guys don't agree on the same source of happiness, you're not going to be able to get her to work or to behave well in the interim until you reach this goal or this thing you're working for, this source of happiness, right? Which is to say this. For me, my happiness is circled around hosting you guys for conferences, traveling internationally. So if I say, hey, Marquette, I need you to work really hard for 2 months, and then after that, you're going to go to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. That's exciting. It's motivating. But if you're dealing with a slore, and that's not interesting to her, what is interesting is going to the club and getting VIP bottle service and spending $10,000 on overpriced poisonous alcohol and being seen by strangers. And I don't do that. Then her being with me, her daily life of being a wife and or a mother or a girlfriend or a support to me is going to be drudgery because she feels like there's never a payout. And women who have they're like low people, the daily life of being a wife is not a life that makes them happy and satisfied. So those are the things you have to really be thoughtful about. So we're going to talk about that source of happiness and how you define that and how you vet the woman up front. And those are the kind of deep things you're going to talk about in the Big Game Conference. And I promise you, if you are blessed enough to be at the Big Game Conference, because I'm not sure we're going to record it, I'm not sure we're going to sell anything on the back end, I'm not sure about that. I'm always tuned into what is immediate. When you are there, if you take the knowledge and you apply it, I promise you it's going to get you everything that you want, because a lot of what you guys are seeking are not only a woman, a good woman, a woman you can enjoy life with, a woman that you're going to understand. And also you need to have realistic expectations around women. Females have just completely ridiculous expectations about men and a man's life. For example, I live a very boring life, in my opinion. What I mean by that is I'm mostly working. That is, when you guys don't see me on YouTube, I'm mostly working. So it's either I'm exercising or I'm working. So my life consists of exercise, work. I'm even working while I'm taking my meals, and discipline, trying to eat the right foods, trying to be thrifty at the appropriate times. My life is not a social media highlight reel like some women may expect. And this is true of most men, especially those who are not wealthy. Their lives are even more boring. But women don't have a realistic expectation of what day-to-day life is supposed to be. And that's during the Lady Saints Conference, we're going to help them with that. We're going to help them understand the purpose of life in general, of their life as a human female. And that's why if you're a gentleman within this thing of ours, highly recommend you have your lady go. I know, shout out to Josiah, I know his ladies want to go. I know a number of saints, I don't know if they want to be named, their ladies are going, mine are going. And so that's a critical thing, that understanding is there, because without that, without shared understanding, you're going to have a very problematic situation, I promise you. And so many of you guys are dealing with a woman that you're not aligned with. And because of that, neither of you are happy with each other consistently. In fact, oppositely, you're making each other less happy. So anyways, to summarize, the answer is different for different men. What should be common in terms of what you would avoid, those things are common for upright men, for saintly men. So you should more so be thinking about what are the 5 things you should avoid in a woman? What are 5 universal red flags that we'll be talking about during the Big Game Conference? To answer directly what you asked, what are 5 qualities we should look for in a mother is what the answer should be. So number 1 is the ability to, this is not in order of importance, the ability to endure boredom and simple things. So what I mean is that they don't have to constantly be like, life doesn't have to be a party all the time. They can enjoy daily life. Like, for example, my mother's a homebody, and I appreciate that. I appreciate women that have calmness and they can just relax. Number 2, a woman that is as straightforward as possible, meaning as possible for a female, because females are crooked, but as straightforward as you can possibly get her, as honest as you can possibly get her. And then number 3, a woman who is coming from a culture that respects modesty. Miami, for example, has some of the most beautiful Latinos in the world, especially in the United States. They're here, the men and the women, good looking people. But Latino culture, I don't really mess with, because the women are just so promiscuous. They're so very promiscuous. They're so materialistic. They're so vain. And shout out to the Mexican women. They're less promiscuous, far less vain. But there's still a lot of things in the culture that are going to hurt you. And so a woman who comes from a culture that values modesty, you'll have women who are Latinas, and this is not only Latinas, you'll see this in other racial groups too, but I'll take them as an example. As I'm in Miami, they'll wear a low cut shirt, and to them, that's just like, that's life. That's what they were raised on, wearing low cut shirts, short shorts and all of that. And, frankly, that's not a conversation you want to have with a woman. There's nothing more disgusting to me than when I'm out with a woman and I look, and the only reason what really makes me notice when a woman I'm with is dressed promiscuously is when I'm walking through the world, because I'm a very hyper aware person, and all of you saints should be militant, which is to say you should notice everything and be very aware. I'm looking at guys, I'm reading their faces. And when I look at a guy and he's looking at my old lady, but he's looking specifically at her bosom, then it reminds me like, oh yeah, like, why are your chest all out like that? I don't have a problem with him. He's a male. Why wouldn't you look? If you're walking through an art gallery, observe the beauty. I get that. But I'm just like, why are you have your chest on display? And these are the kind of things that just really disgust me, frankly. And it's not a conversation that I'm even willing to have with a woman, because it's an expression of who they are. Like a lot of you guys think you can teach the woman or explain something to her. No, that's an expression of who she is. You could get her to change shirts, but did she change her personality? Did she change her upbringing? Did she change her culture? No. So you'd be wise to find a woman who naturally understands that it's better to cover up, naturally understands that she only needs to impress you. There's a lot of people who are just mental. In fact, there may be even some in this chat that are mental. It's very common nowadays to see mental illness. It's become normal. But like, for example, yesterday, there was an older white woman who works in the service industry at this particular resort. And I asked her to do a particular thing. And she says, oh, no, I have to do it this other way because it's courteous. I say, no, what's courteous is to do what I asked you to do as the customer. She was basically saying most people want it this way, so I'm going to do it this way. I said, no, I am asking you to do it the other way. And she said, it's courteous to do it the first way. I was like, no, it's courteous to do what the person wants you to do. So what I'm telling you is this. She was basically suffering from her own excess experience, right? She was that woman in her position. She wasn't able to think. She wasn't thinking. She was just trying to use path dependence, use what's familiar. And I came along and asked her to do it a different way. Now, how does this relate to the topic? Difference between dealing with younger women and older women. The older woman has so much built up experience and expectation, and she thinks she understands men, and she's going to apply that to you. She's not even looking at you with fresh eyes. She's not even understanding you. You're always compared to the 30,000 other guys they've dealt with. And we got a lot of good game today. Send in your comments, questions. We're going to get into it. I think I owe the gentleman one last quality, which is competence. And this is the biggest reason that I don't have a bunch of children running around, because women are incompetent. They're also delusional. And when I speak of competence, women often sit back and think, oh, I'm competent, so I'm qualified. And in actual fact, they're incompetent and they're unqualified. And they don't even know that they're incompetent. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a woman in my presence and I said some basic requirements, which I'll recount now. And if you're a young lady watching and you think you're qualified, do present yourself and first master these things. So number one, if I do a live session, I like to have at least 2 full bottles of water or 2 glasses of water. If it's particularly hot, make it ice water. When I wake up in the morning, if I appear to be awake at all, if I turn on my phone, we need all of the blinds open and all of the lights turned on. Every 4 hours, you should offer me to eat food. Those are some basic things. Every 4 hours, are you hungry? Can I cook you something? Can I bring you some food? He wakes up in the morning, go open all the blinds, turn on all the lights. He's going to go live, make sure there's 2 bottles of water there. Those are super simple things, it would seem, but you consistently, you're about to go live and the woman's like, and you're like, hey, can I get my water here? Oh, or you wake up in the morning and you start opening the blinds, and then she realizes, and then she goes and opens the blinds, and then you're like, yeah, but you didn't turn on the lights. And then they say, oh, well, the blinds are open. It's bright in here. Like, why do I need to turn on the lights? You need to turn on the lights because that's what I asked of you. That's why, because I said so. But it's so bright, it's going to waste electricity. Do I seem like I'm trying to save money on electricity? No. Maybe your dad wanted to save money on electricity. Maybe your mom wanted to save money on electricity, but I don't. I said turn on all of my lights. That means the entire property. Turn on all of the lights. And at one point in which I tell you to not do that or to not turn on certain ones, then you adjust. But until then, do precisely what I asked you. But the problem is that they're trying to think with their own brain. Having a woman who has the capacity to think is a great pleasure. However, having a woman that's trying to use her brain, which is to say, use her thinking in place of your thinking and leadership, is her usurping authority. And it is very problematic. So my advice to the women who are listening is this, and I want you to take this very seriously. I want a competent woman. I want an intelligent woman. I want a woman who can give great advice when I ask. And I will ask, but if I did not ask, do not give your advice. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Do not volunteer your advice. Do not volunteer your questioning. I have no interest in it at all. It's detrimental to our relationship, to my level of appreciation for you, to me wanting you around. Do not volunteer advice. I don't want it. Now, here's an irony. Men don't do that. Like if if we're out and doing what we do, a man's not going to suggest something or suggest an alternative when you didn't ask him. And here's the comedy about women. You'll ask them for their opinion on something and they'll be like, oh, I don't know. Then you'll be doing something completely outside of their area of understanding. And then they'll start making suggestions. You're like, yo, what is going on? I asked you earlier and you're like, blah, 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 I don't know. Now I'm doing something I know you don't know about. And now you're like, well, do you think maybe it's this? I'm like, I didn't ask you that. Just chill. Just sit back, kick back. So ladies, that is some of the greatest advice you could ever get. And I hope you use it. May I acknowledge 6, right? It's a very important topic. Very grateful and paying tithes. Peace of the Saints. Indeed, peace of the Saints. A truly important topic. Shout out to the swarthy wizard, right? Peace of the Saints, Mr. Burton. My cousin, 35, and he met a female online. Ooh, that's rough. They are the same age, which means that she's older. And a couple of years later, have a child. My question is, if she's been around, how do you think the box? Are you asking me, what is the box quality? I don't know. But the most important thing, I mean, this is very rare. Say out of 100 women you deal with physically, maybe only like 5% have like their down below the waist is not quality. Only like 5%. Now there's levels to things, on that upper level, man, there's levels to things. They're those ones that you always have trouble getting in. You hear me? You trying to fight tooth and nail just to get in there because that thing closed up. You hear me? There's levels to it. But the bottom 5%, the ones that where you're like, yo, this wasn't even worth it. Like, yeah, like I would have rather just dealt with Pamela Henderson. You hear me? Like Hannah Palms. I would have rather dealt with her. Like this wasn't even worth the smash. That's only like 5% of the female category. So what you're really asking is not the quality of the box, but the quality of the woman. And generally it's going to be low if she's 35 and she's still single to be with you, right? And if you're dealing with a woman that's the same age as you, you're pretty much taking an L for the most part, especially if you're older as a male. Not to say that 35 is an old man, but you're older. So if you're dealing with a female who's 35 and you're 35, like that's an L, my boy. And I'll talk about that more at length and give the full logic during the Big Game Conference. Shout out to Zwain writes, peace of the Saints from South Africa. Thank you for your essential lectures in Timeless Game. I appreciate that. Shout out to the folks in South Africa. I hope that you guys take out your president. May I acknowledge ISB writes, peace of the Saints. Shout out to Eddie writes, for the pure game. Oh, yes, indeed. Shout out to Major Minded Soul writes, funny. I just had that blinds and lights conversation with my lady today. Your cooking is always Saint. Thank you, sir. Yes, and the funny thing is that they make these kinds of suggestions that are not helpful. You can save money on electricity. Oh, but you don't want to save money when it's time to get your hair done and get your eyebrows waxed and get your upper lip waxed and get your spray tans and, get all of these things. You don't want to save money then, huh? Oh, but we're going to save a couple bucks on electricity. How much money does it cost to run these lights? Do you know? More importantly, we got a multi-million-dollar house. We got $1 million in cars. What logic does it make sense to turn off a couple lights and save $20 per month? Like, I don't even know what the electricity bill is for the last 10 decades, the last 10 years, because my assistant pays all the bills for me. I don't even notice the money leave my account. So why are you trying to tell me how to save money that you don't even make? You don't even make the money. You damn near barely even help me make it. And half the time you're distracting me any damn ways. So who are you? Who elected you to be the manager of budgets? Don't ever let a woman manage a budget. They can't manage budgets. But it's just this kind of thinking where they're trying to assert themselves where they need not assert themselves. Assert yourself into the kitchen. You hear me? Insert yourself into the kitchen and then assert some chicken tagine onto a plate. You dig? Come on now. They big tripping out here. Anyways. May I acknowledge, and shout out to Austin, by the way, I sent you the WhatsApp group for the Big Game Conference. Everyone who's paid for the Big Game Conference, once you email me with your receipt, we'll send you the link for the WhatsApp group. Anyways, we're going in today with this GAME. You dig? May I acknowledge, shout out to Raymond, he writes, peace of the saints, teach us what it is and not what it ain't. Sir, that's all I can do. It's all I know, sir. May I acknowledge Patrick? He writes, Saint, you stated in a video that if you had a son who didn't accomplish anything, you'd tell him to be humble. Absolutely. What if your son's actual personality is arrogant? Would you still tell him to be quiet? No, it's not about being quiet or even being humble. I'm advising all people to talk and behave according to what is real. You heard me? Like if you're short, son, stop, give up on basketball. It's a waste of time. Consider being a racehorse jockey. You know, if you got the goods, speak on it. If you don't have the goods, be silent because you're being dishonest. Shout out to Sani. He writes, Saint, I get why older women shame us for going younger, but why do some men shame us? Now, this is a brilliant question, and this is something that I talk about frequently. The weak male is the ally of the female because the weak male is better known as an incel. And an incel, a weak male, a beta male, has to do everything he can to ingratiate himself with the female, make the female favor and like him. And often that goes toward helping her deal with and be unruly against and rebel against the alpha male, the dominant male, the masculine man who is leading the society, because females are made rebellious. And it goes back to the biblical story of Adam and Eve, or Hawa, right? Which is to say that the female inherently has a level of rebellion. They inherently need to be put in their place. And it's against whom? It's against a disciplined male patriarch. I mean, Eve went against God. You think they ain't gonna go against you? So with that being the case, though she's most attracted to the masculine male, the alpha male, or someone like me, the apex predator, she's naturally attracted here, right? But she's going to be unruly at some level. So there's always going to be a tension in which he has to assert dominance. As he's asserting dominance, her poutiness and whiny nature, childlike reaction, the beta male, the incel, comes in and tries to plug into her as a sympathizer. Yeah, you're right. He's mean. You're right. He's controlling. You're right. So they come in as a sympathetic voice, trying to be Mr. Friendly and ease their way into the vagina. This is how you get a lot of these women who are dealing with guys that are fat, ugly, generally not appealing, weak in whatever way they may be weak. They could be an NBA superstar, but still be a beta male or a weak male, because that is defined by being controlled by the female and female culture and the matriarchy, right? And so you have these guys who have come together with the woman to try to strike at the alpha male, the apex predator, because they could never beat him in head-to-head combat. They can only beat him through confederacy with other weak males, or they can beat the alpha male and getting to the woman by being her little buddy, you know, her little gay best friend who's trying to smash on the low. That's why they join up with the broads. Now, what they don't realize is that the big boss dog is, look, either the woman is going to be with us or she's going to be connected to us forever in whatever way. We're the ones who took her virginity anyways, or she's going to let us smash when we decide to, which is to say cheating on you, little buddy. So that's why they come up with that stuff. But understand, all of these thoughts and behaviors that you get from the mainstream or from these broads or these weak males, it's all a part of a greater system to keep the perverse way society is headed to keep that going. So none of this stuff is just random. It all like moves the society in a certain direction. When you see declining birth rates, well, that goes in line with feminism, that goes in line with LGBTQ, that goes in line with the war between the male and the female, that goes in line with women being in the workplace, all of these things, that goes in line with evil science that's used to prevent life instead of, you know, help health. Come on now. It's all a part of a system that must be fought. Huh? Yes, indeedy. May I acknowledge Tommy? He writes, peace to the saints. How do you deal with women that get upset when you don't text them every day? This girl that I'm dating always gets upset when I don't respond. You have to set expectations at the beginning. And this is something that underlies the lecture title, which is the difference between dating young and older women. And I put older at age 25 plus. But the truth is, females in our sick society in the West, they get excessive amounts of experience so quickly. So they have a lot of miles on them, and they have a lot of men they've dealt with. And if they've dealt with 10 men and they've been able to dominate those 10 men before you and get them to text every day and to do all this stuff, then they're expecting you to do it because that has been their experience, right? Just like, for example, me, I've been driving luxury cars for a long time. I don't expect my next car to be a Toyota. I wouldn't accept it, right? I expect a certain level of service. I expect a certain level of experience, of luxury, of handling of the car, of this and that, of material quality. So I'm not going to let that change. And that's based on my experience, right? So if the woman has been able to dominate the last 10 guys, all of a sudden you show up laying down the law, there's going to be a struggle there. And the question is who's going to win? And sometimes, someone's going to have to step out of that relationship. But here's the thing. It's about setting expectations because you're going against what she has experienced. So when she shows up, she already has an assumption on what the relationship is. Dig this. A broad might show up and assume you're both being monogamous without you even having had a conversation about that. She shows up with you and she expects you not to check out other women without you guys having ever talked about that. She shows up and she expects that if you guys are going to get married, she's going to get both an engagement ring and a wedding ring. Why? Because that's what everyone else is doing. And women are social animals. They're also crooked animals. And you have to set the expectation off the rip up front and let her know, like, hey, if you like it, then go ahead and love it. If you don't like it, kick rocks. You heard me? Because there ain't none like me. You can go out in this world and try to search for one, but listen, baby, it's a cold world out there. I'm just trying to warm you up in here, but I tell you what, I ain't gonna chase you. I don't need to. And if she really understands what she should be seeking in this world, your merit will win out. But often your merit won't win out. She's going to need you to have a little bit of clout. She's going to need you to have some social standing. If you're dealing with the average Western woman that lives in a city. But number one, to answer your question, you didn't set expectations up front, and then you didn't stand on business. You see, a lot of times you might even set the expectation, but you don't stand on business. And what I mean by that is you tell the young lady, hey, I'm not going to text you every day. You might text her one day, might text her the second day, and then the third day you're MIA, and then the fourth day you message her again, then she gets mad, even though you warned her of the situation. Well, what I'm here to let you know is that then you have to let her know, yeah, I might have texted you 5 days in a row, but I'm not going to text you every day. I did that because that's what I had time to do, or that's what was on my mind, but that is not an expectation and it will not happen. And then just let that be what it is. You can't be afraid to lose abroad. You see, it's a negotiation. Many things in life are negotiations. The question is, are you winning the negotiation? Are you going into the negotiation to win? And I promise you this, don't take an L to a female. They ain't gonna let you ever live after that, man. Even though they fight you, they want you to win the fight. They might fight you, but the woman wants you to win the fight. Come on now. Shout out to Daz. He writes, dude got emotional over jokes at the court. Started talking wild. I stood my ground, didn't escalate. He apologized later. Opinion on when to take it there and when to let it go, when to swing and not. Oh, this is a really good question. So the first estimation you should take is what are the consequences potentially? In the Book of Dark Truths, I present something called a Marquettian decision-making matrix. Marquettian decision-making matrix is basically a document that will allow you to map out what are the possible outcomes. And once you've used it enough, it'll kind of be in your head. So the first measure you're taking is, what are the possible consequences? Can I stand it? Is it worth it? And then you can make moves based on that. Now, generally speaking, there are times that you just have to let things go. There was one time I was in New Orleans. I'm leaving New Orleans and there's some dirty black guy sitting next to me. And I don't know if he was on drugs or I don't know what was going on with the guy, but something was problematic with him. And he was in the middle seat. And I don't even recall the full situation, to be honest with you, but I don't know if he had elbowed me or he had like tried to take the armrest. It was something that I definitely would have swung on. If we were not in an airplane, I would have swung on him for this thing, like for sure, off rip, no thinking, just immediately, whoop. But we were on an airplane. And when you're on an airplane, the consequences or things are much higher. And so all I did was I pressed the call button for the attendant. The attendant comes. I say, hey, do you mind if we, you switch me or switch him, because we're having an issue here that's irreconcilable. So one of us needs to be switched. Now, that was very strategic for a couple reasons. Number one, I outsourced dealing with the problem to this person. And then number two, I've given them a warning that, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I feel it's a threat to my life. This guy's potentially problematic. So I've already appealed to the authority. So if it comes to the point where I have to turn around and try to knock his lights out, they at least say, well, this guy tried to de-escalate. This guy tried to get out of the situation. So you want to think through, an environment is really important. Shout out to Jay Wrights, tuition, game on. Peace of Saints, sir. Yes, sir. I also acknowledge Mr. Haddad. Right, so I'm a fitness trainer and I want to involve mental coaching as an additional source of income. That's smart. Everyone today is a mentor. Yes, that's problematic. How can I separate myself? Good product. He writes, thank you for your work and inspiration. Yes, do a good job and get referrals. And remember, marketing is key, because people believe things that don't make any sense. So as long as you repeat the message enough times, the average person, which means low IQ, they're going to believe you. For example, you have Aaron the Runner. People believe he's a gangster. I've always said he was a clown. And just recently he snitched on WAC 100. Now, how gangster is it to go to the police? There's no excuse ever. If you are a gangster, if you're talking about dead homies and you go to the police, you're a rat, you're a snitch, you're a clown, and you deserve the punishment of a traitor because you betrayed an entire lifestyle that you're portraying. And this lets you know the nature of what people will put up with, because people are like, no, it's okay. He abandoned his kids. He's a deadbeat father. He's abused females and got in jail time. Claims he's a gangster, got shot in the face, didn't do anything back. And his story with WAC is like, oh, he says he's going to get my mom. That's too far. Bro, that just means if he say he's going to get at your mom, then you go get at him. You don't call the police, go get at him. You hear me? He threatened your mama. You better go find him. But instead he turns around and rats. So what I'm telling you is that when people are marketed, the consumer base, which consists of average people, meaning dumb and with no values, have no discipline, no morals, they'll follow anything. Sexy Red, Beyonce, these are all examples. So marketing is the key. And if you want to further understand human nature, get the Book of Dark Truths. It will deliver on everything, and you'll understand the world better. You'll be able to navigate more effectively as a result. Daz writes, would come to explain if you wanted. I think we got a good answer to your question. Yeah, I think we got a good answer to that one. Appreciate you. A Hall writes, bars. Eve went against God. You don't think she would go against you? Right. Talk about it, man. He writes, cannot forget Peace of the Saints. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Thomas writes, my brother, 29, married a 40-year. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my word. Married a senior citizen. Now they're trying for a kid. See, that's the crazy thing, man. They're trying. And that's what lets you know that someone is, I don't want to speak ill of your brother, but let's just, no comment. I'm gonna just leave that where it is. He writes, I tried to save him, but he won't listen. Sad to see your brother going this way. Bro, it just is what it is, man. It is what it is. He writes, appreciate the ism. Peace of the Saints. Yes, indeed. You are welcome. Shout out to Trayvon. He writes, peace of the Saints. Grateful to have met with you and the Saints to break bread. Absolutely. A pleasure to have met you as well. And shout out to the Florida section. And shout out to all the Saints around the world. If you haven't joined patreon.com/the Saint and the Sinner, we invite you to this thing of ours. Or you can go to the SAS and click join and go ahead and get your membership. Now, here's the thing. New member orientation is on the 1st of each month. So keep an eye out for that. Once you go through new member orientation, you will then, I'm getting like a phone call from everyone in the world right now. It's crazy how people call me and I just ask them, like, stop calling me. Like, send me a text. Stop calling for things you can text me. It's extraordinary. But anyways, patreon.com/the Saint and the Sinner, or go to the SAS and click join. And you can go to new member orientation on the 1st. That'll give you access to our member only Discord and all the benefits of membership. Shout out to Pain Zombie Ghosting, supporting the work. We appreciate you. Anyways, one moment. May I acknowledge Abu writes, peace of the Saints. Do you mind telling me what country you're in? I've been traveling a lot and your Instagram stories look phenomenal. Anyways, carrying on. Shout out to Pawan. He writes, peace of the Saints. Thank you, Mr. Burton. Came in by Venmo. Appreciate you. You are welcome and thank you. Shout out to Mr. Chambliss. Writes, Michael Mary, Billie Jean, Christian Dior. I open all the stores. When it rains, it pours. Yeah, bro, it's crazy. And you know, the funny thing is that we don't know what an alpha male is. You look at the basketball player, you look at the gangster, you think these are the alpha males. But in actuality, these are not the alpha males. These are the beta males. And they're the beta males who are basically the created player by the women. But here's the thing, women don't know what they want. They don't know what they want at all from themselves, for their happiness, or from a man, or out of life itself. And so what happens is that the woman takes the liberty of refashioning these males, these weak males, into what they want. And then they eventually leave the guy because he's behaving like a female, right? Yes, indeed. So a woman's going to put your testes in a vice grip. And then when you start acting like a fruitcake because she's tried to, she's told you that's what she wants, then she's going to leave you. It's a setup, actually. It's really unfortunate. You're dealing with a crooked being whereby, she's going to fight you, but wants you to win the fight. She's going to tell you to do certain things that are detrimental to you and the relationship. When you could go out and work out, she's going to say, oh, how long will you be? As though the longer the workout, the better, right? Because you're going to be more fit. But instead, she's going to try to tell you to come back sooner or to not go at all. Instead of working, she wants you to Netflix and chill with her in the bed and relax instead of make money. Yet she turns around and wants to spend huge amounts of money. So they're very crooked and deceptive. And this is the actual nature. And they're, frankly, if you don't choose the right one, they're very exhausting. It takes a lot of energy. And to be naggy and complain and ask unnecessary questions for a female is effortless. To live in la la land, it's effortless for them. But for you to create structure and to have focus and to march down toward a goal takes energy. And you can't have these broads sapping your energy. And they'll do anything, especially if they're interested in you, to put themselves in your way. Once you get to a certain level, truth be told, you're going to spend more time pushing women away than you do pursuing women. I repeat that. When you get to a certain level, you'll spend more time pushing women away, keeping your gate up, as opposed to letting women in. And women will come to you completely deluded, thinking that they're worthy of you with no reflection of who they really are. I can't tell you how many women tell me they can cook. You eat their food and you're like, this is terrible. This is barely edible. I wouldn't feed this to a dog. But they said they could cook. Can't tell you how many women are incompetent. You say, hey, I have to go to this meeting. I want to bring a gift for so-and-so. Go to the store, get a gift. Next thing you know, they call you. Oh, hey, what color should it be? How much should I spend? Which store should I go to? It's like, good Lord, if I got to answer all those questions, I can just do it myself. They're very incompetent, yet they think they're worthy of you because for the human female, life is so easy that they've never experienced requirements, like real requirements. And now that you have requirements as a man of discipline with high standards for yourself and your family, the woman is failing and she struggles to accept that she's come into a world, the United States of Marquetica, where there are expectations for everyone, for employees, for independent contractors, for family, for women. There's standards. And now that she's expected to perform and her father never made her perform, her ex-boyfriend never made her perform, now she's resentful, angry, and she should be mad at herself, but she's mad at you. She should be mad at her parents for not teaching her anything, but she's mad at you. She should be mad at her mom for not teaching her how to cook, but she's mad at you because you want to eat home cooked. You dig? So that's what you're dealing with, which is tough. Gentleman says, is the Book of Dark Truth not on Amazon? It is not on Amazon. It's not actually a book. I was going to make it a book. I made it a full conference. We did a 2-day conference. The reason it couldn't be a book is because they're dark truths. They're things that are not commonly known. They're things that are very dark. And if people misapply the information, it will be dangerous to them and to others. And so I did it as a conference so people could interact with me and digest the knowledge and ask questions. So I want you guys to be able to see that full process so that you don't misunderstand something and, basically suffer from having this new information as opposed to benefit from it. So it's called the Book of Dark Truths, but it is in fact not a book. Like, think about it like this. You have the Bible, right? How many people misinterpret the Bible, lie about the Bible? So imagine if the writer of the Bible, which the Bible had many writers, imagine if instead they had a conference and they read through the Bible and then they discussed it, and the people who misinterpreted it got corrected immediately. The people who lied about it got corrected immediately. And you had that as a record so that it is correctly understood. It's kind of like that, if that helps you understand. Shout out to Ernest. He writes, hey, Saint, I really want the Master Communicator course. It's over my budget. Is there an abbreviated version? There is not an abbreviated version, but I think that if you, focus on the basic things, then eventually you'll be able to afford it. And that's just what life is. Like, for example, if you have $200 to $300 right now, then you keep saving, and then you buy it when you can afford it, if it's worth your spend. And this is life. Like, you don't need to use credit. You don't need to borrow money. You just save the money. But also ask yourself, well, how do I improve my earning ability? And also, how do I remove needless expenses? We all have needless expenses. So if you smoke cigarettes, if you drink alcohol, if you play video games, those are 3 sources of expense that you can add $300, $400 to your monthly discretionary budget very easily. Shout out to Fox, he writes, we need to reemphasize the concept of overcompensating as it relates to those who portray certain tropes. Something was lost in time and translation. Yes, indeed. And there's the link to the Master Communicator course. And correct, it's not cheap. And the reason that it's not cheap is because A, I'm the best to do this. And B, there's nowhere else you can go to get the information. So I price it accordingly due to its value. And there will be new lessons added. As if I ever observe something like, oh, like people need to know this, I'm going to add a lesson. As soon as I get settled into the plantation this week, you'll be seeing a lot of work going up, a lot of work. We're going to add another lesson to the Book of Dark Truths on women. We're going to add another lesson to the Master Communicator course. And you guys who have purchased any of my courses, you benefit because they're living documents. Acknowledge Zwain, he writes, thank you, Saint. He should be removed immediately. Indeed, he's very effeminate guy. He was very submissive and slave-like and servile and obsequious when he was with Trump. It's really an embarrassment to all Africans. Shout out to Cobb, comes in by Venmo. He writes, hey, Marquette, when are you going to drop the live about why learning a new language is useless? I've been looking out for it, Saint. Let me add that to my calendar. See. And I advise all of you guys to tune into that one, and I'll tell you why. The title references learning a new language, but as most things I do, it's deeper than that. It's really a discussion about how to focus your mind, how to make money, how to be efficient, how to do the right things, how to be future oriented. So it'll be a great talk. And shout out to the Lady Saints. Yes, indeed. Have your ladies subscribe to that IG, have them shoot a message, have them join up, and you will benefit greatly. I promise you. Thank you for that question, Kyle. It will be done. I also acknowledge Charles. He writes, AKA Thuled Tuition. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones who support the work, as we say within this thing of ours. Show love to those who show love to you. I acknowledge Irvin. He writes, peace to the saints, tuition. Love that photo, my boy. It's a nice photo you got up there. I also acknowledge Andre. He writes, tuition. Thank you, Saint, for mentoring me in life, business, and relationships. I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this thing of ours. By the way, I'm in the process of listing the leather bag on Amazon. Let's work. Oh, by the way, that was a baller alert. And I also have mine. It's actually in my suitcase right now. I wish it wasn't. But do check out on thesasson.com, THESASN.com. Click products. Andre has a phenomenal black leather fanny pack. And it's great. Like me, I like to keep the UWAP in there. You hear me? Because I can put it around my chest, which means I can just unzip it and grab the UWAP straight away. And that's really, you want it within that kind of a reach. So I highly recommend it, if for no other reason. But what I really like about that particular fanny pack is it's black leather. So it's elegant, it's sleek. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. Shout out to Austin. He writes, can we get an I identify as Ike Turner shirt? You know what? I actually do have the, I was going to make another one with Ike Turner. I still got to put out. So let me make a note of this right here. And I've been busy, folks. I've been busy. I'm a one-man band out here. I'm a one-man band. And the reason I say that is not because I don't have a team around me. I say that because there's certain things that I won't release creative control over, because I want it to be at a certain quality that I believe only I can do. Like in terms of the merch, I want the merch to be a specific way. In terms of the content, only I can do the content. Shout out to Reese Time, writes, peace to the saints, appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. Heels in, supporting the work via Venmo. I also acknowledge Mr. Chambliss. He writes, you talked about countries needing to be large in size in order to be effective and project influence. No, it's not about being large in size. They have to have access to water, a coastline for commerce, and also to have a proper navy, which can prevent, on land attacks, that coastline, because they're not bordering another country, which makes a ground invasion easy. Whereas the world's fifth largest, Marquetazi, or excuse me, Marquetazil, the world's sixth largest, Australia, seventh largest, India, eighth largest, Argentina. Argentina doesn't have a chance. Their economy has been in shambles for too long. They're just irrelevant. Kazakhstan, I believe they're landlocked, right? Algeria, underdeveloped. He writes the Marquetocratic Republic of Marqueto Congo. That one that you're referencing is going to suffer because they have a lot of really important mineral wealth that the United States, Russia, and China are battling for through proxy wars. So you're always going to have insurgents and different paramilitary organizations fighting in their land because of that mineral wealth. He writes, the world's third and fourth largest, America or China, second largest, Canada, and the largest, Russia. Yeah, that's by land mass. So land mass is not the critical thing. It's land mass, it's population, it's coastline, and mineral wealth would help, of course. Shout out to Chris. He writes, peace and saints, good to see you. Shout out to the SoCal section and the executive down there, a gentleman putting in a lot of work. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Now to acknowledge Felix. He writes, for this lesson, teach. Sir, yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Also acknowledge the double baller alert. Shout out to Paul. He writes, hello, Marquette. Going to be brief. I do not want to dox you in case you're a regular at this location. It was a place, right? I was shocked to meet you there. My physique is like the security guard that spit on Aaron the runner. It was an honor to meet you. Oh, absolutely. I remember when we spoke, and it was a real pleasure. And I appreciate you saying hello. It's always for me, it's just as much a pleasure to meet you all. So I thank you for acknowledging me and saying hello. And definitely tap in with the Florida section. Some good guys out here. And every time I come into somebody's section, I tap in with the executive, say, hey, bring the guys through, whether it's for a meal or a workout or what have you. Because for me, I truly believe that your greatest happiness will come from your relationships, the people around you, the good people around you. And so I make every effort to be around you guys. That's a source of happiness for me. And also I get to bring a lot of you guys together, because even with the Florida section, when we met up, and shout out to Dan Lee, the executive there, shout out to Josiah, who put in the foundation there. There were guys in the state of Florida in the section who came together to meet me, but some of them hadn't met each other. And so that was good to facilitate that experience, because these are the men that you'll do business with. These are the men that'll be your groomsmen. These are the guys who are going to have your back. And so relationships are everything. So it's really a pleasure. And shout out to the real ones. Carrying on. I'll give you guys a little bit of time if you want me to keep it going. I got some more on this one. You dig? This is a deep one. So if you guys want to keep it going, send it in using the information below. Send in your tuition, your support, your questions, your comments, and we can keep it rocking. Shout out to Rashadi, supporting work rights, Peace of the Saints tuition. Shout out to Dominicano, writes great lesson, Peace of the Saints. Okay. Shout out to Dominicano and Rashadi, both supporting the work. Let's go ahead and wind it down, give you guys a little bit more, then we'll get out of here. Here we go. So when we talk about the differences between young women and older women, you often hear the liberals say something that has some truth, but not enough truth to make it valid. It's irrelevant to the actual argument. They'll say, oh, you know, the human brain's not fully developed. You know, you can't make major decisions at 18, 19, 20. The brain's not fully developed to age 25. Well, that's quite strange, because while having people who have an underdeveloped brain, you allow them to call themselves adults at age 18. You allow them to go to the military and die at age 18 if they're male. You allow them to drink alcohol, which opens them up to driving under the influence and killing people when they're 21. And they could, at 18, fresh out of high school, or even in high school, they can join OF. They can do adult content that'll ruin their whole future. But for some reason, you think it's strange that an 18-year-old female would, you know, marry a 28-year-old man. Like, that's weird. But it's not weird to allow her to go sleep with an infinite number of guys, record it on television, and have it broadcast to the entire planet Earth. That's chill. So the fact of the matter is, you're in a matriarchy. Women have a very short shelf life. Women who are unruly hate the fact that they have a short shelf life because they want to live as males. They want to compete with men. They want to be able to do the same things that we are doing. And in their effort to be a man, which is living in a carnal way, that's not manly, but that's what they think it is. They think that they can go have intercourse indiscriminately. You see, a man can go have intercourse indiscriminately with very little consequence. You go get 10 women pregnant, you could just leave. 10 women get pregnant trying to live like a man. They have to deal with the product for 9 months of pregnancy, you see? So their wiring is for them to live in a certain way. When they exceed the limits of how they should be living, when they get into promiscuity, you see the situation with Cassie in the P. Diddy trial. She started getting UTIs and all kinds of infections. Why? Because she's having intercourse with random guys, too many of them, and that's causing her natural systems to go on fire. The female is not designed to operate in the way that the male is, and when they do, they suffer greatly. So you have the feminists, which you have two different tracks. You have the track of feminists who are lesbians, which is like really the ones that started it. And it was their great effort to separate from the male. In order to separate from the male, being your father's home or your husband's home, they had to get out of the kitchen. They had to get out of being a homemaker because they weren't earning money. So they had to break into the workforce so that they can earn money and then be independent from the man, so that they can pursue other females because they're sexual deviants. They want to be in a lesbian relationship, which requires them to be able to support themselves without having the man as the financial provider. Come on now. Which I want to help you guys out. You think of the man as the financial provider. That's something he does, but that's not what he is. What he is a man. What he is a leader. What he does is financially provide. He may also protect, but that's not all that he is. It is just one of the capacities and the value adds that the man provides. In the modern society, with our government and culture in disrepair, we've reduced the male to being a provider, which is something that you can get from many different sources. So the male has very little value and is engaged in a transactional way, especially among those females that are the most ratchet and the most like down bad in terms of values and upbringing. And let me kick some game for you guys. You can tell when a woman is getting too many miles on her. You can tell when a woman is being promiscuous and is inclined to promiscuity. And I'll give you a clue as to why that is. For example, if you ever have to ask a woman, what are we? Where is this going? You're probably either you're a male who needs more development, or you're dealing with a female who is promiscuous. And the reason that I say that is because if you have to ask her where's this going, either you're down bad or she's promiscuous. And that's because she's given no indication of the path that she wants to go on. And the reason she doesn't give an indication is because she's not trying to go anywhere. She's just here for the moment. She's not here for a long time. She's here for a good time. She might just be there for the pipe. She's a pipe fiend. And with that being the case, you're dealing with a slore. And here's the worst part. You're not the only one dealing with that slore. You know, she's community property. So anytime you ask a woman, where is this going? Or what do you want? What are you seeking? And she does not specifically say, I want a family, I want a husband, I want children. All answers that are not that are the wrong answer. You, sir, are going to be banned because you've said this multiple times, and you know it's very clear that you can simply state a question to be answered using the information below. You're no better than anyone else in the chat. Everyone else is following the rules. Obviously, if you don't value your question enough to spend $15, then don't ask the question. Just sit and get your free lecture, get your free lesson, your free information, but don't spam the chat. It's an annoyance to other people. It's very inconsiderate, and it shows that you're self-absorbed and you're self-obsessed. I don't want to meet anyone like that. I don't want to talk to anyone like that. I don't need you at all. You're a stranger to me, and you're disrespecting everyone else in the community. Have respect for the fact that you're not the only person watching. You're not the only person in the live chat. Have some sense of self-awareness. Stop spamming the chat, you inconsiderate, impoverished fool. Thank you. Now, going back to my earlier topic. When you're dealing with a woman who has said anything other than, I want to be a wife, a mother, I want family, any other answer is the wrong answer. And that lets you know she doesn't know the purpose of her life. The purpose of a woman's life is family. I repeat, the purpose of a woman's life is family. When we have our Lady Saints events, we talk about this. We make sure that they're skilled up. We make sure that they understand men, that they understand themselves, that they understand their trajectory. When women don't understand those things, you'll hear them say things like this. Hey, what are you looking for? That's not what they say. You know, you might be fool enough to ask them that, but they'll respond with this nonsense. Oh, I'm healing. I'm taking care of myself. I'm learning. I'm getting over trauma. All these like catchphrases. And each and every one of those catchphrases points to the fact that they're misguided, points to the fact that they think that they can lead themselves when that's not the case. You see, where you are today, young lady, is a result of the decisions you've made. So you and your understanding and your leadership is not about to get you out of it. But here's the thing. I'm not saying you're not smart. You may be smart. I'm not saying that you're not capable. You may be capable. But the man's purpose is to lead you and to put you on the right track, especially in terms of morality. I can't tell you how many women will reach out and say, hey, I need your help. And you know what? They're right. They do need my help. Now, some of them are unworthy because they have too much baggage. They have too much challenge. But I can see every single time when a woman deals with me, her morality skyrockets. When she stops dealing with me, whether she's single or dealing with another guy, I see her morality plummet. I cannot tell you how many women I've had any dealing with. They'll call me up or periodically for whatever reason, they find an excuse. And when they get on the phone, I can hear in their tone that they're inebriated. They've had something to drink. And maybe it's the liquid courage that makes them able to call me back, come back crawling, that is. Not call me back, but call me and come back crawling. And I think in part they want me to hear that they are inebriated so that I would offer my help and be another haven for them. But I'm not a rest haven. I'm not a rest haven. But they want me as their patriarch. They want me as their father figure, their moral authority to say, hey, you're on the wrong path. Here's the right path. Or, let me help you. Or, what's wrong? Because whomever they're dealing with now has no morals, no standards, lets them behave in any way. And just like children, they require structure. They require leadership. And if you let them run amok, they will, even though they know it's not the right way, and they suffer in the process. My contact lenses are bothering me today for some strange reason. So, it'll tell you a lot who a woman calls when things go wrong. It'll tell you a lot. I even had a chick that was trying to get on my program. Something had went wrong with her. And this is really important. I want you guys all to really listen to this. I had a chick who said she was trying to get on my program. She had a big issue, like a major emergency, right? And I really want you guys to pay attention to this. Give me a second. I got to take my contact lens out. This female said she was trying to get on my program. So she experienced a major emergency. When the emergency happened, I don't know if she called me first or called her mother first. I don't know which one she called first. I have a feeling she might have called her mother first. But she called both of us, and I got to work solving the situation, right? And which required some real effort and some resources. And I got to work solving the situation. Then eventually it came out that when she had called her mother had called her ex to get help, right? So that let me know everything I needed to know, which is that I never was quite comfortable with the nature of the young lady's family because, unfortunately they're a bit problematic. And, I think family is very important, but if someone's problematic and you have close relations with that person who's problematic, eventually their problems become your problems. And that's not what I want. And women are often very complex characters. They're not simple. Men are simple, and men of peace, wise men, successful men, moral men, saintly men, we're very simple. We want to keep the problems away, keep the bad people away, keep our life simple, moving in the right direction. So that taught me everything I needed to know, which is to say that, her story could have been, I didn't call my ex, which was true. My mom did that, which is true. And so that could have been her excusing it, but I didn't address the situation because it's not worth addressing. But I know that what it tells me is that A, you called me and you called your mother. I don't know who you called first, but if you call me and I answer and I say I'm going to take care of it, it's going to get taken care of. You don't need to call anyone else. No, there's nothing wrong with not having a single point of failure. I teach that. So yeah, sure, call your family. But if your mother calls your ex, that lets me know that your ex is still a part of or still connected in some way, which is problematic because I don't do like the weirdo stuff. You hear me? If I'm dealing with a broad, she's completely dominated. I'm number one. There ain't no number two. There ain't no distant this or that. No. Ain't no male friends. Ain't none of that. Because it's just not how we live. It's not proper. It's not saintly. So if your mother thought that he was a resource, that means that you did not clarify to her that he's completely out of the picture. And in this case, this young lady's ex was abusive, right? And so that means you didn't tell her that he was abusive, or you lied to me and said he was abusive. Who knows? And frankly, who cares? It's just like, I'm just slide shorty to the side. I'm just slide her to the side. I don't need to figure out all of these things. You see, sometimes you guys are asking the wrong questions in life. I encourage you to ask the correct questions. You could ask, well, how do I figure this out? Don't figure it out. You don't need to figure it out. Like, for example, today, some rude broad called the suite and she said, hey, you're supposed to be checked out hours ago. I say, no, actually, I had my stay extended, so I'm not supposed to be checked out. But she said it so rudely. I said, well, why are you being so rude about it? She says, no, because you're supposed to be out and, I can extend you to like 2:00. I said, there's no need to extend me. I'm extended several days. I said, well, call the VIP host. She's like, well, I might be all like, no. There's no might. You called me to inconvenience me. Call him. You hear me? Like, yeah, he works for you. You call me. I don't even know you. Like, he works at the same company. Call him. And she starts talking like, shut up. And then hung up on her. You hear me? Like, shut up. Hung up on her. Why? Because that conversation is no benefit to me. Like, there's nothing she can do for me. There's no value add. There's just like, let's hang up on her, little goofy broad. Click. Get out of here. And you have to understand when it's not worth having the conversation. It's not worth trying to learn from someone. It's not worth having a conversation. Get them out of here. Click. Then they called the room phone one time. It rang once. Shorty's like, should I answer? I was like, nah, don't answer. Like, wait till they send somebody up. That's going to be fun. That'll be fun. But then, of course, nothing happens over an hour. Then I get a phone call and then it's her. Oh, hey, I apologize. I'm so sorry. No. Don't be sorry now. You heard me? Don't be sorry now. Be sorry up front. This is very common. You find like women in the workplace and they can't even behave like professionals. You heard me? Because they're being emotional. I don't know if they're on their period. I don't know what happened, but it's like you're in the workplace. That's why they really shouldn't be in the workplace. I don't want to have to deal with this broad. If I ain't smashing, I'm not giving you no room to be impolite to me. You heard me? Like, nah, you need to be professional. You heard me? If I ain't smashing, I have no sympathy. Like if you're my broad, you start acting all bugged out every now and then. I get it. You got a cycle you're going, I get it. You hear me? I get it. But you're not my broad. I ain't smashing like shorty. I ain't taking no disrespect. Who I look like. You dig? But anyways, I say all that to say, you ask the wrong question sometimes. Shorty, like, should I answer? Hell nah. Who like we don't, there's no information she's gonna give us that's gonna make our life better. You're asking the wrong question. You're having the wrong conversation. You're giving time to the wrong person. I don't need to have that conversation like, oh, hey, like, well, why did she call bro? Like, that's strange. I don't need to have that conversation. It's just like, oh, okay, like, I know that you're a liar and that you're like concealing something and you're not pure. I teach women purity. Like when you are pure, you're honest as much as a woman can be honest, and you're living pure with pure intentions, so many other things will fall away. So many things will fall away. Things will be very smooth for you, because women often say, well, what do I have to do to be qualified? What do I have to do to be worthy? Tell the truth, be pure. But so many of them are impure. You know, they drink alcohol. They hang out among people who are filthy, who have black souls, whether it's their own family members or their friends that they choose. And then they think they're going to come to me and degrade and defile me. No, I don't want that energy around me. Absolutely not. And I'm not giving no explanations. You hear me? You might see me on YouTube explaining things to people, but I'm not going to be in my personal life explaining to a broad why she's unqualified. Hell no, I'm going to just ignore your calls. You dig? I'm going to just put you on block. I'm going to just, you hear me, delete your contact info. I'm not here to re-raise you. You're lucky if you get a first shot. You dig? Like, and you say something to a chick that is, one, they're used to guys arguing with them. Don't argue with them. It makes no sense. They're used to guys going back and forth. You find out that the young lady is not serious. If you're a serious man, then you have to move on to serious opportunities, whether it's financial opportunities to build your family. Move on to something that's serious. So you might tell the young lady in the middle of the conversation, good night. She writes back, good night, with a question mark. You're like, what do you mean? You know what good night means. Don't act like you don't know what good night means. You know what that means. That means I'm going to bed. Yes, it was abrupt, but this is not a conversation that's worth having, because you're showing me that you're not serious. And a lot of you guys waste time on these dating apps. You waste time DMing people on Facebook and Instagram. You might be going back and forth, and that's not going to fill your tank, gentlemen. It's not going to fill your tank with love. It's not going to fill your tank with, you know, a woman's support. It might fill her tank, because women like to communicate. The communication doesn't even have to go anywhere. It doesn't have to reach an end. But if you're a real man, the question is like, look, love, are you just trying to have intercourse? That's fine. Just be real about it. Or are you trying to build something? Just be real about one of them. But we're not going to play in the limbo, because I don't have time like that. And also, I don't have interest, and I'm not your friend. I'll never be your friend. So like, figure out what it is. And if you're not going to shit, get off the pot. So you have chicks that are used to playing those games, but I tell you this, you almost never meet a woman who will say, I am promiscuous. They'll all say that they're not, but most of them are. And you have to be able to identify the ones that are, and you can identify them by, they don't know the purpose of their life. They don't want to, get into a relationship and build family. They want to, take their time, and they basically want to be in the streets. But they use code language for it. I'm finding myself, I'm building myself, I'm healing, I'm this and I'm that. That means I'm trying to take more time to be out in the world before I have kids with some like weak male that I can control. That's what that code language is for. Anytime a woman is saying anything other than I'm dating for marriage, I want to have kids, she's promiscuous. She's promiscuous. Come on now, that's all there is to it. And you do not reach a certain age of being single without having been promiscuous. Like, for example, you'll have women will try to lie, and they're going to lie to you. I promise you this. How are you age 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 30, anything above 25? You're 25 or older. As a woman and single, you have been promiscuous. Now, maybe you're changing your ways, but if you think you haven't been promiscuous, you're lying to yourself and to the new guy, because males have such low standards, low expectations, and they're hungry for vagina, and they'll accept much of anything. So the fact that you could not secure a male, which is one of the easiest things to do on earth, that's because you are either promiscuous, which is to say you're hopping from penis to penis by your choice, or you are so incompetent or you have such a personality disorder that it ruins everything. So there's something really wrong with you. In most women's cases, it's just that they're promiscuous and they don't ever want to concede that, but that's what it is. So the question may not be, are you promiscuous today? But the certainty is you were promiscuous, but they'll try to lie. That's not believable. You cannot be 25 or older and single and not have been promiscuous. And someone might say, well, I was in an 8-year relationship. I was in a 10-year relationship. You didn't notice after year 5, like he wasn't, you ain't noticed after year 7 that he was not about to marry you. So if you were comfortable in that 7-year entanglement going nowhere, you're promiscuous because you were dealing with a guy that you knew was not going to give you a family. You're promiscuous. Thank you. In case y'all needed that broken down. Anyways, may I acknowledge? Mr. Buck writes, I need to catch this lesson in its entirety. The way you can break down human behavior is astounding. I appreciate that. I also acknowledge Das. He writes, to be specific, if there are no consequences, should I always go straight to violence at any disrespect? Or as a man, should I practice self-control and not let it go left if he is not in my space? Well, it's about you and what bothers you. If it's not going to bother you, then let it go. Like, for example, if say you're with your old lady and you're magically somewhere where there's no cameras and no consequences whatsoever, and you're with your old lady, it's clear that she's your old lady. A guy walks up, starts, talking reckless to her right in front of your face. And this is less about her, more about you. You might feel like that's disrespectful. So you might want to, let them know, who the big dog is. If you feel like that, but if you feel nothing at all, if it doesn't bother you at all, let it go. We all have different things that bother us. And also there's different moments in time where you're like, you know what? I got time today. I'm in the mood. Well, then if you think you can get away with it, then, carry on. But the concept of self-control, I think, is a problematic concept for those who are, if you're a perfectly healthy man, you're not like a sociopath of any sort. Why do you need to control? You need to figure out how to properly express. You don't need to control. You need to figure out how to properly express. And what I mean is that if you are saying to yourself, you know what? I inside know that I need 2 women. I don't need to control that and have one woman and end up in an endless struggle for the rest of my days. I need to figure out how to properly express that I need 2 women, and how can I have that within the context of something that's happy, healthy, and productive. So I don't think self-control is really what you're looking for. I think it's the proper self-expression. Shout out to Majesty, writes, tuition, peace of saints, appreciate you. Shout out to Nick, came back supporting. I acknowledge Mary or Maury. He writes, I'm 23 and currently in university. I started talking to an 18-year-old I met in class, but both her friends and mine think it's a bad idea due to the age gap. They're idiots. Carry on. How should I handle the situation? Well, you don't have to handle those people because they don't matter. You see, all you have to do is continue dealing with the broad. And if she wants to mess with you, she's going to mess with you. If she doesn't, then she doesn't. Now, here's the comedy. That's a 5-year gap. That's really nothing. Her friends and your friends are idiots. So, do you, my boy. And remember, there's a lot of people you don't have to explain anything to. So, for example, the woman that called, told me like, hey, you have to check out. Man, I hung up on her. I don't have to explain shit to you. You hear me? Like, I'm already straight. My stuff is paid for. Go figure it out. I ain't explaining a damn thing to you. You hear me? Because I don't have to. So, like, don't waste time. Like, the people who are not in that relationship, you don't owe them any explanation. And you'll notice that because so many people, A, are mentally unwell, and then B, here's the kicker, and this is why Boss University is so important. They're not going anywhere in life. They don't have any goals, and they're not working toward anything. They're not improving themselves. So when you have no focus in life, anything will get your attention. Any small thing gets your attention. And that's why we have so many people minding the business of others instead of minding their own business. So you don't have to explain anything to these people. I find it comical, for example, with the snitch kid, Aaron the Runner. He snitched on Whack, which is insane, very despicable. You find people in the comments saying, like, you need to fight him. You need to hurry up and fight him. And it's just like, it's so strange that this is a top of your mind. It's not even top of my mind. It's top of your mind. But, and I appreciate it because it runs up the views, which is exactly what I'm doing on purpose. But I ask myself, how does it benefit you, whether I do it or don't do it, whether I win or like, how does it benefit you? It doesn't benefit them at all, except that they're bored people with no meaning in their life. And so that they're going to mind other people's business. They're going to seek gossip. They're going to find drama. They're going to create it if it's non-existent. They're going to insert themselves where they don't belong. This is the nature of humankind. So you don't have to engage it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can ignore all these people because they don't matter. You got broke people and they're like, bro, why is it about the money? Nigga, it's always about the money. What are you talking about? Are y'all not paying attention? I teach you business. Make a buck. If you read my book, The Black Box, I explain the importance of earning well. And I also underline, know who your friends are, know who your friends are not. Like, none of you motherfuckers matter to me. If I don't know your face, you don't matter. If I don't know your face and your name, if I don't know your government name, like, you don't matter to me. Like, I don't take your advice. And the same thing should be true with these people who are irrelevant, telling you who you should date. Like, do they pay your tuition at school? Do they pay your rent at home? Will they sacrifice their life for yours? Hell nah, screw them. And here's the most important part, my boy. They don't care about you. Why should you care about their opinion? And if they did care about you, they'd be sitting back like, okay, she's 18, you're 23. This is fresh water. I want you to have fresh water, my nil. Hell yeah. They'll want you to have fresh water. That's why you ask the big homie, I got love for you, my nil. I want you to have fresh water. I'm rooting for you, bruh. Shit. And that's the same way, like when my young boys be around me, when we have the conferences, I remember one of my young boys came up to me and was like, hey, I got this girl. I need somewhere to take her. But I gave a nigga my hotel room key, man. Hey, bro, make sure you change the sheets afterward, man. Do your thing, man. Hit me up when you're all done. Take your time. Good luck. Yeah, I want them to win. But what you guys don't realize is the jealous nature of human beings. A lot of the advice they're giving you is not to help you win. It's to make you lose or to stay on their level. They don't want you to outpace them. Come on, man. Think about it. We got a fight where we can make some good money. People talking about, oh, do it for free. Nigga, what? Where they do that at? People talking about, do it for 10,000. 10,000? Nigga, I just spent 70,000 yesterday on some bullshit. 10,000 don't even register. Are you crazy? Niggas talking about, just do it for the clout. Clout? Nigga, where do you spend clout at? Where's the clout store where I could walk in that motherfucker and buy me another mansion using clout? Like, nigga, are you crazy? But the thing is, they're not crazy. They just don't want you to get paid. Pay attention. You heard me? They're not crazy. They just don't want you to have a woman that's going to be younger than their woman. When y'all are both friends, you and your homie, y'all are now both 50 years old and his woman is also 50. She look old as shit. Your woman 40. You heard me? She look a little bit better. You dig? She's still really killing them out there. They want you to have an old broad like they got an old broad. You dig what I'm saying? They don't want you winning out here, man. They'll have you down in poverty if they could, bro. That's why they're giving you this stupid advice, because they want to do what's good for them. They want to do what's going to keep you on a low level. They don't want to see you get paid out here, Brody. And that don't got nothing to do with racism. That's human nature. It's basic jealousy. You dig? They don't want you to take the opportunity. Somebody said, and this was crazy. Somebody said, you're not a prize fighter. You can't expect that much money. Nigga, what? Nigga, I expect money for everything I do. If I spit in your face, I want money for it. You dig? Yeah, these broads want to play games on OF and try to charge for everything. Man, I'm doing just like these broads. Yeah, I want money. Pay me for everything I'm going to do. Yeah, absolutely. And I advise you to do the same thing. Get your value. If you can get paid, bro, get paid. If you can get paid more instead of less, get paid more. Exactly. Like, exactly. Jake Paul getting the bag, I want a bag too. You hear me? And I tell you this, nobody's going to give it to you unless you demand it. And that's something that I teach. There, if you go to thesassin.com, click products, and you scroll down, there's a lesson where I talk about negotiations. No one's going to give it to you unless you demand it. But here's the thing. Broke people want you to do it for free because they don't want to see you get a bag. They don't want to see you get a bag that they could have had. They don't want to see you get a bag. People in the chat talking about, well, 10,000, that's a lot of money. Nigga, to you, it's a lot of money. My sneakers is $1,000. You hear me? Like, my sneakers $1,000. Like, how long is that going to last? It's nothing to me. To you, it's a lot of money because you're broke and you want me to work for what you work for. But that's because you want to think that we're equal. We're not equal. I'm above you and you hate that. You hate that I'm above you. So you want me to eat what you eat. Nah, nigga, I'm eating filet mignon in this bitch. You heard me? Bring the caviar. I don't even eat caviar, but bring it anyways. You dig? Yeah, man, like that's what they want to do to you. They want to lower you. Hell nah, bro. Get your women young, get your wallet big, get your cars big, get your house huge, and let these peons live in the dirt. Huh? Come on, man. Yeah, they'll try to hold you down, Brody. They don't want to see you with that fresh water, man. I want to see you with it. Yeah, 18, that means less miles. They want you to get a chick that's 5 years older. How many more cocks? 30 more cocks? Yeah, come on, Brody. 30 more cocks, throwing a little bit of domestic violence, a little bit more trauma. That's what they want for you? Bro, that's ridiculous, man. And the thing is, the males and the females are giving you there's different driving forces of why they want to screw you over. The broads want to screw you over is because they know there's a ticking time on them. They want to compete with the young broad because they know she fresher water. They know men prefer virgins or as close as we could get to a virgin. You heard me? So they know they got hella miles. They want to compete with her. So they want to take her out the game so they don't have to compete with her. Talk to me, man. They're trying to get her out the game so they ain't got to compete. They know she's a star. They don't want Jordan in the game. They don't want to play against Jordan. They want to play against AC Green. That's what it is. So the females don't want her as a consideration. So you got to deal with their old ass. That's number one. Then with these dudes, they know that they ain't got range like that. You heard me? It's cats that's my age, like Marquette. Well, why don't you date a broad your own age? Nigga, look at me. I could run like the wind. You heard me? I could run like the wind. I'm strong as a goddamn motherfucking wildebeest or a goddamn buffalo. I don't know, bro. You get the point, though. I'm young. I'm handsome. I'm strong. I'm feeling like $1,000,000. I'm stylish and I'm flashy. I got the MDB watch on these hoes, bro. Hell no. I want fresh water. Why? Because it's appropriate for me. Yo, dad's got gray hair. All my hair growing black. You dig? I ain't dyeing mine. I ain't bleaching mine. It's the real color, nigga. So when I get old and rusty like you, when I get old and stiff like you, then I'm going to start dealing with Mildred and Maxine. You heard me? Then I'm going to start dealing with them senior citizen hoes. But as long as I'm young and my stroke game is tremendo, as long as I'm super player and I say stuff and the hoes love it, write it down, dub it, record it, and share it, I'm going to keep dealing with these young ones. You heard me? Yeah, because that's the appropriate, healthy, biologically sound thing to do, okay? It's common sense. And I ain't going to let none of you goofballs try to put me on your level, Come on, it's different over here, man. Listen, tell them that's suitable for you, but that's not suitable for a king. That's okay for you, but it's unacceptable for a super player, okay? Peon. Yeah, man, they trying to do you dirt out there, Brody. Tell them to knock it off. Matter of fact, don't tell them a damn thing. They could bounce like a bed spring, man. Just keep your eyes on the prize. That's the key. Keep your eyes on the prize. And I ain't told a single lie, man. 100% unadulterated raw physics. Couldn't believe they try to do you like that, my boy. I'm glad you asked the big homie. You dig? And listen, man, I want all my little homies living just like me. That's the difference, man. Y'all listen to people that ain't even really like that. You listen to people that don't even really live that life. Nigga, I want you living like me. And I'm proud to say that. You know, live like me or live better than me. Nigga, I'm a model. You listen to all these rascals, they tell you things they don't even do. They don't even live. They don't even believe in. Nigga, live like me. Fresh water. And get it fresher than me if you can. Get it fresher, Come on, man. People trying to put you down bad. Because they down bad. What? Listen, man, here's the thing. Somebody driving a Toyota, they're like, I can't believe you spent all that money on a Rolls Royce. And you'd be looking at them like, if you had it, you wouldn't drive the Rolls Royce. If you could get the Rolls, you wouldn't drive the Rolls. Nigga, stop it. Nigga, slap yourself. You're crazy. Don't nobody believe you. If you could drive the Rolls, you wouldn't get it. Like you keep riding that bull Toyota, huh? Okay, I see what it is. You're lying. Stop it, please. Anyways, shout out to the noble one. I also acknowledge Paul. He writes, Marquette, where we met, there were so many BBLs. It was crazy. Oh, bro, when the money's around, the hoes be around. And when the hoes are around, especially if they're Latinas, you can bet 50% of them is fake. You did. He writes, I did not want to speak to any of them there. Also, I hope I didn't ruin the flow of your night with that elegant black woman. Peace of the saints. Oh, no, my night is beautiful, man. And as I say, I'm all about good people. So if somebody stops me to say hello, to say, hey, can I take a photo? No, it's all good, man. It's all love. You know, I'm thankful for everything that I am, everything that I have been, and everything that I will be. And I'm also thankful to the good people who support me. And to me, it's nothing that if I see you, to take some time to greet you, to honor you, to learn your name. A lot of people you ask if they've just randomly met me, hey, what's your name, man? Like, I want to meet you as a proper man. And so it's nothing. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And frankly, I try not to go out in the public unless I'm willing to be in the public, right? I have a plantation that's in the country. It's on 60 something acres, and I have full and total privacy. And I'm gonna probably make some videos of me running around butt ass naked. You hear me? I'm gonna have to blur out. It's gonna be a big blur for my Johnson, but I'm gonna be running around butt ass naked just to show you how much freedom and control I have over that property and have my privacy. But when I'm in the public, I'm prepared to be in the public. And I don't think there's anything wrong if you admire and respect someone and you see them to, holler peace to the saints or to greet them. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You see, because I'm not a celebrity, I don't want to be a celebrity. I'm not an entertainer. We have a movement here. So if you really mess with the movement, you mess with the ism, holler at the big homie, man. It's different. It'd be one thing if I was like a singer or something like that, but you don't know what a singer stands for. You don't know their values. You just know that you like that song. We sit here and talk, man. A lot of people have been listening to the ism for half a decade, and they started in high school. They damn near raised on the ism. And so you have a good sense of my values. And if you say, hey, I rock with those values, you're someone I would like to meet. You know what I'm saying? You're absolutely someone I'd like to meet. So I think nothing of it. I appreciate you. And, any woman that's with me, she already knows, like, there's going to be people that's going to walk up, introduce themselves, etc. And people are always respectful. I've never had one situation where anyone was ever disrespectful at all, ever. And 9 out of 9, a woman that's with me, if somebody walks up or greets me, she usually is just going to like either turn around or step away or just like be like invisible. So it's not an issue, Shout out to Sadney. He writes, what do you think of some studies that talk about what women want without talking about what they find arousing? I've noticed a lot of studies don't always truly match up to real life if you have experience. You know what? I heard one very fascinating study mentioned by Myron, and shout out to Myron, shout out to Fresh and Fit. He had mentioned a study. I would like to actually read the study myself. And he had mentioned a study wherein people, male and female, are looking at a series of images and their brain patterns are being tracked to see what is arousing. And it does line up with my experience and observation and the things I've said about female nature. But I'd like to see that study. He didn't mention the name of it. If anyone else happens to find it or find reference to it, do send it along. Shout out to Enrique, writes, peace, Saints. I have a plan written down with steps to resign from my job as of January 2026. I'm 23. My job has been causing major strain on my back. My business has equaled my salary. Oh, very good. Do you have any advice? No, it sounds like you got a good plan there. I would just say, if you have something in your future that is a good thing, how do you get there faster? That's the question you should ask yourself. The African Wolf writes, preach. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Shout out to SMBA, always supporting. He writes, can I get an amen? Peace of the saints indeed. Shout out to Fables. He writes, love for the wisdom on this Sunday afternoon. How do we bridge the divide that hierarchy creates? Can a young woman truly be reached at a visceral level, or are there truths she must keep to herself? Well, you would hope that she would be honest and you would work to understand, but you don't have to rush it, especially if it's a chick you're going to deal with long term. You don't have to rush anything. The truth will come out, but it'll mostly come out in her behavior. It's not even the information and the knowledge that she gives you. It's the behavior. You can observe who a person is in their behavior, the things they say, the way they do things, the way they question things, even the way they formulate sentences. For example, the difference between a young woman and an older woman. When I say older, I mean 25 plus. An older woman, she'll say, well, Marquette, how do you want your lady to behave in this way? Or she'll say, with men I've been with or in relationships I've been in, such and such happened. Whereas a younger woman or a less experienced woman would say, Marquette, how do you want me to behave? And the language and the subtlety is important because a woman who's older has greater awareness of relationships starting and ending. She has comfort with it. And in as much as that's the case, she is speaking and acknowledging that in a subtle way. But you don't really need a woman to be realistic in terms of the end of your relationship with her. It's one of the few areas in which you can allow her to be engaged in fantasy, because that's what you're both pursuing. And you would hope that she doesn't have other ridiculous ideas, But the idea of you guys staying together forever, which is a challenge, that she should have a very optimistic, fantasy-like level of belief in. And when that is in lack, it's because she has too much experience of things ending. She has too many counter examples. And she, in other words, she's practiced failure. She's practiced failing at relationships a lot. It is what it is. It is what it is. May I acknowledge Rashadi and JVR supporting, right? Tuition. Shout out to Patrick. He writes, let's see. Shout out to the bowlers. Mr. Mugisha, he writes, thank you for your time, Saint. The game is tremendous. Absolutely. Send me your comments, questions. Give me a second. My doorbell's ringing. It's funny, my VIP host actually called and said, hey, you're good. But it turns out that, and this is what he claims, who knows what happened. He claims that he called, said it for 2 more nights, and then that someone else called and said it for 1 more night, which doesn't make any sense. Now, does it? I got some money downstairs I got to pick up. So just remind me about that when we head down. Anyway, shout out to the ballers. Mr. Mugisha writes, thank you for the time, Saint. The game is tremendous. Absolutely appreciate you. That's a funny DM you sent me, Patrick. That's a funny DM. Hey, look, for all the people with this Eric the Plumber stuff, let me just be real quick. Let me remind you guys of something. Number one, you saw when I was on live session, I showed you a DM conversation, but direct between Aaron and I. And in the DM conversation, it showed you where I told him, where are you? I'm going to pull up right now. That's when he was in Atlanta. And then all of a sudden he stopped responding. I did that live on IG, live on YouTube. And I showed you the IG. That's number one. Number two, we all know I live in Atlanta. When he was in Atlanta the first time, and I reached out to him, I said, hey, come through to this address. Let's do a live session. And he said, pay me this amount. And then I said, eat a bowl of Cox. That point, that's when the beef started, right? At that time, if he wanted to fade, he could have caught the fade. Then he flies to Las Vegas and then he gets on live. Yeah, they're saying the center, where you at? Pull up. It's like, bro, you already know I'm in Atlanta. You're a liar. Then when I did the live with his ex-girl, right? We did a live session, me and his ex-girlfriend. It was really a trap. I wanted him to come on, and he did. So it ran up the views. So I was really clever on my part. It's really Book of Dark Truths level thinking, chess moves. So anyways, he comes on the live session. And, I turn up on him. He turns up as well. And he said, well, I'm coming to Atlanta. And I was, oh, fantastic. I'll be here. When he comes to Atlanta, quiet as a church mouse, never says anything, never tries to set up a fade. He could have talked to his ex-girl. I went on her podcast. She could have even set me up. He could have pulled up. And there's so many things, right? He doesn't want to fade. He does not want to fade. When people are like, just do it for the free, we could have got that out the way already. He does not want a fade at all. Because why, when he said, I'm coming to Atlanta, you guys all heard that live. Then when he got to Atlanta, did you see him put one video out on me? Did you see him do one live session? Did you see him make one story asking for a fade? Did he DM me and ask me to meet up to catch that fade in private? Like some real gangster shit. Never one time, because he doesn't want that. He does not want that. Bro does not want that at all. But what happened when he came to Atlanta? I continue putting out videos. I continue saying he's a bitch. I continued 100% in exactly the same way, which is, as you young boys say, kept the same energy. Why? Because I'm just one person. So bro is just all of this. He don't really want that at all. And based on what I heard him say before in terms of like, donut spit on me and I ran away because of X, Y, and Z. If that's why you ran away, trust me, we're not the same kind of person. And, somebody was saying they was going to take your mama out and you called the police. We're not the same kind of person. Not because you started that beef. I don't start beef and then call the police. That's crazy. That's like a real setup move. That's like Tekashi Snitch 9 level stuff. I don't respect it. But he's a funny guy. He's a little funny guy. And listen, man, he's a rat. And that I don't respect. I didn't respect him before, but that's another level. Anyways, shout out to Mr. Chambliss, comes in by Venmo. He writes, Marquetantino. Came in again by Venmo. He writes, NBC News unraveling the mystery of female desire. Oh, that's a good one, man. I'm do a whole separate live session on this one. We'll bookmark this right here. We don't have to talk about that. Because I already know it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be biased. It's going to be some funny interpretations. But it'll definitely be worthwhile. Shout out to Darren with the bowler alert. He writes, quote, live like me or live better than me, end quote. When you say it, I know you really mean it. Other influencers never say such things. They are truly cut from a different, you are truly cut from a different cloth, probably velvet, tuition, peace of things. I appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. And absolutely. And that's why I talk about wealth through unity. Not everyone's going to make $1 million, $100 million, $1 billion, but collectively we can have infinite amounts of wealth collectively. And that's why every time you see me with the young boys or anyone within Assassin, we got guys in Assassin 60 years old. We have mature women in Assassin. And I always make sure that I can show them the things that are inspirational. I can give them the game that'll get them there. I can support them in their efforts. It's wealth through unity. It's another concept that you guys never hear about. And so we're really, it's wealth through unity. It's through our togetherness. We find greater levels of happiness, greater levels of earning. And shout out to Pat. Shout out to my boy Pat. Yeah, get the black box, man. That's a lesson on how to live. Yeah, rap behavior. Yeah, you better believe that, bro. He be telling. And that's why it's kind of sad now, because people are like, it's beef, just meet up with him and sock him out. It's like, oh, and go to jail. That's extraordinary. And I should have knew he was on some internet stuff off rip when I asked him, like, yo, like, where you at? Like, I'll pull up on you right now. And he just all of a sudden stopped responding. I should already be like, oh, this is an internet guy. It's a little internet guy right here. Ladies and saints, it's been a pleasure. It's time to fellowship with you all. Until next time, peace to the saints.